Look, if you're tuning in today, chances are you know the feeling of just pure exhaustion. I mean, we've all seen the traditional financial advice out there, right? The tips on optimizing your portfolio, building a neat 10-year plan, or carefully managing your credit score. But let's be entirely honest here. When you're just trying to survive the next 24 hours, when the weight of the world feels like an elephant sitting directly on your chest, conventional financial advice is practically useless. You don't need a theoretical spreadsheet right now, you need a lifeline.
Okay, let's dive into this explainer. Today, we're looking at the raw, totally unfiltered realities presented in Joseph Rutakangwa's playbook, Never Stay Broke. And just to be clear, this isn't about that exhausting hustle culture or toxic positivity. Not at all. This is about taking stagnation, that feeling of being completely, utterly paralyzed by your circumstances, and turning it into immediate, actionable movement. Right now. Today.
You know, what makes this source material so incredibly compelling is that it isn't written from some shiny pedestal by someone who's forgotten what it's like to really struggle. It sits right beside you in the trenches. It's written precisely for that terrifying moment when you have zero options, your fridge is literally empty, and you need a way out that doesn't rely on a magical safety net or a perfect credit score. It's a manual for movement when absolutely everything around you has come to a grinding halt.
Section 1. Surviving the next 24 hours. Reality over theory.
Now, what's really interesting about this comparison is how sharply the line is drawn. When you're actively dodging calls from collections and, rationing the last few slices of bread in your pantry, you just don't have the luxury of dreaming about 5 years from now. You crave a tangible, immediate win just to prove to yourself that things can still go your way. You really can't afford to fix your mindset when the phone is about to be cut off. What you do need is a 24-hour plan. You need momentum. You need to do something, anything, today with exactly what you have from exactly where you're standing.
Section 2. Momentum beats motivation, breaking the stagnation.
So how do people actually escape survival mode? Well, they don't think their way out of it. They act their way out. Look at this definition of momentum. It's the ability to move forward, even slightly, even shakily. Waiting for the fear to leave before you take a step, or just hoping things will magically resolve themselves. That is exactly what keeps you trapped. Motion breaks stillness. Once you break that stillness, even by just an inch, your thinking gets clearer, your confidence lifts, and suddenly your options start to widen. Hope is great, but hope combined with immediate action. That's freedom.
Section 3. Tactic 1. Liquidating life.
All right, let's get into the tactics. This first one is a literal zero-barrier move. It's all about looking around your physical space and transforming dormant energy into urgent cash. Here's a crazy fact. The average household has hundreds of dollars worth of unused items just sitting there, gathering dust. So here's the immediate action plan. Gather what you haven't used in months. Take clear photos near a window, and honestly, don't overthink it. Actually, scratch that. Perfection is a luxury you cannot afford right now. Just post those items on local marketplaces with this exact urgent line. Need to sell today, first come, first served. That kind of urgency, it's an absolute magnet for buyers who aren't looking for a long, drawn-out negotiation.
Now, you might be thinking, come on, my old shoes or a cracked phone aren't worth the effort. But remember, value is about what someone else is willing to pay. And getting just $10 for an old item, it's not really about the money. That $10 provides psychological proof. It proves that you're not stuck. It proves you can still generate income and literally create value out of thin air even when the system is telling you that you're locked out.
Section 4. Tactic 2. Monetizing presence.
But what happens when you have absolutely nothing left to sell? Well, your most valuable asset becomes painfully clear. It's you. Think about the power of posting a simple message like this on a community bulletin board or a local Facebook group. Available today for any kind of help. I'll give my best. By putting a direct, totally honest message out there, you're making yourself immediately useful. People will always pay for convenience, whether that's cleaning out a garage, moving heavy boxes, or running quick errands. They don't need to see a perfect resume. They just need someone who is available today.
And hey, if you have a smartphone in your pocket, it's no longer just a device for scrolling through everyone else's highlight reels. It's a job tool. Look at this dense menu of options. You've got TaskRabbit for local errands, DoorDash for deliveries, Wanolo for same-day warehouse shifts, or Fiverr and Upwork if you need to work remotely from home. Earning your first $5 or $15 on one of these platforms shifts you right out of that stillness and puts you firmly back in the driver's seat.
Section 5. Tactic 3. Creating value from nothing.
Okay, this next tactic requires literal zero capital. None. It's where you leverage speed, strategy, and a bit of sweat to build momentum without needing a single dollar in your bank account to get started. Here's how the $0 flip works. You find free items that people just lack the time to sell themselves, like an old shelf or a table. You clean them up, take better photos, and relist them. The absolute genius part? You add the phrase, "can deliver for a small fee." So the crucial point here is that one little sentence creates instant convenience value. You're taking something someone completely abandoned and turning it into your grocery budget for the night.
Alongside flipping, you can offer micro skills. The golden rule here is simple. Money flows to availability, not perfection. Can you help a kid with their math homework? Can you fix a cracked phone screen? Or maybe organize a messy kitchen? You definitely don't need to be officially certified or be the absolute best in the world. If someone needs a problem solved right now, they'll gladly pay for your immediate availability.
To really anchor how powerful resourceful action can be, the author shares a deeply raw lived experience. When he was just 10 years old, his family's business failed and they lost everything. I mean, they moved to a village with zero income and no electricity. The poverty was so absolute that they literally had to borrow matchsticks from their neighbors just to light a fire to survive the day.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next survival strategy. See, when a local event brought tourists to their village, his mother didn't just sit on the sidelines. She borrowed wheat flour and oil from a local shop, purely on trust. At dawn, they set up little stools by the roadside. The author washed cups while his mother fried donuts, which was a food the locals hadn't even seen before, but the tourists were craving. By noon, the whole shebang was sold out. They repaid the shop and had enough to buy more ingredients for the very next day.
The core lesson from that donut stand story is absolutely huge. There is a massive difference between borrowing to consume, which just traps you in a cycle of debt, and borrowing to create, which is built entirely on trust and momentum. You don't always need an elaborate business plan or upfront capital. Sometimes you just need to borrow enough ingredients or tools or just enough momentum to prove what you can do, and then you repay it and hit the ground running again.
Now, this final, most direct survival tactic definitely requires the most grit: collecting abandoned value. Because in the right hands, trash literally becomes inventory. Scrap metal, aluminum cans, copper wiring, wooden pallets, these are discarded every single day. If you have the willingness to go out, collect, clean, and move what others just throw away, you prove that value is everywhere. You prove that you can turn literal trash into instant cash.
Section 6. The first step: reclaiming your agency.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to remember that this playbook isn't some pitch for relentless hustle culture or a thinly veiled entrepreneurship course. It is about reclaiming your dignity through immediate action. Look at this quote: "You don't need permission to rewrite your story. The system might not be built for you, and your circumstances right now might feel incredibly, suffocatingly heavy, but they do not define your worth. The grit, the creativity, and the resourcefulness that you used to survive all your past battles, they haven't left you. They're just buried under the exhaustion, but for sure they are still inside you, just waiting to be activated." So I want to leave you with a direct question, one that really demands an answer. What is your very first step today? Seriously, you don't need to fix the entire puzzle right now. You just need to take one imperfect action to break the stagnation and restore your motion. Grab an item to sell, post a quick message offering help, or pick up a simple gig on your phone. Make your move today. Because once you prove to yourself that you can create value out of absolutely nothing, the whole game changes.